Okay, last video, I set up this microphone. I got it talking to the Arduino, and I found the center point of the analog read. Okay, and now I have this microphone. As I'm talking, I see it jumping away from 0. But as I'm silent, right, it's at 1, it's at 0. It's about right there. Okay. So now what we're going to do is set up some NeoPixels. Okay. Let's see. So we need 5 volts ground and digital out on our Arduino here. So let's go back to the bench. Actually, I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this code here. So this is called Girls Who Code Wenatchee Mic Test. File save. Okay. And then file new. Okay. And then with our Arduino, I'm going to disconnect everything. So let's first disconnect the USB, right? Okay. And then unplug all this. I'm going to leave the microphone plugged in because we're going to need to hook it up in a little bit. Okay. So next thing we're going to hook up is that NeoPixel ring. Okay. And I pulled, there they are. I pulled out some connectors just for this. So on my ring, I have to follow, it says it right here. It says GND, which is ground, digital input, and 5 volts. Okay, so the 5 volts is red. I'll put a red pin in there. Okay. The data, I like to use blue for data. You can be a heathen and use other colors, but I personally prefer blue. And then black for ground. Okay. So this is 5 volts and ground, right? So I'm going to use blue, or I'm going to use black in the ground and red into 5 volts. Okay. There we go. If you can see that. So black's in the ground, red is into 5 volts. And the blue, I'm going to put into pin 6 on the other side. Digital 6. Okay. There we go. And that's what's matching over here. So basically it goes red to 5 volts on the ring or on the strip. Doesn't matter which one you use. Black to ground and blue to digital in, or DI. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to hook the USB back up. Okay. Let's go to our Arduino. So, to talk to NeoPixels, we're going to use a library for that. So, tools, or sorry, let's see, go to Sketch, include library, and manage libraries all the way up top. Okay. And it might take a second, and you're going to need internet for this. So, if you don't have internet, pause it and connect yourself to internet. And once you get internet, resume this. Okay, so now that we have library manager, that was, to repeat that was sketch, include library, and all the way up top is manage libraries. Okay, it'll pop up this dialog here. And what we're going to do after it's unloading, there we go, and just type in Neo, okay? Neo. And it's going to pull up a lot of different NeoPixel libraries. The one we want is called Adafruit NeoPixel. So I'm going to scroll down until I see Adafruit NeoPixel. There it is. I hit this. And I'm installed, but I could also use an update. So I'm going to hit update. There we go. Cool. It's updating it. Perfect. All right. So now the latest version of NeoPixels is installed. Cool. Okay, I'm going to close this. Okay, so I'm back to my Arduino, right? IDE. Next thing I'm going to do is go to File, Examples, and I'm going to scroll all the way down to Adafruit NeoPixel. You probably don't have as much stuff as I do if you're fresh in here. But let's find Adafruit NeoPixel. There we go. And we're going to go to Strand Test. Okay. So there's Strand Test. It's going to pull up a whole new dialog. And we'll go through this real fast. So it shows you correct ways to wire it up right here. Okay. And this is a special thing if you're using a special type of processor. This will help it work with that processor. Okay. So the LED pin, as you remember, we plugged it into 6. That blue data line, or whatever color you used for data, is plugged into 6 over here. Okay. And this ring right here has 24 pixels. So there's 24 LEDs on it. So I'm going to change that to 24. Okay. And all this should be right, unless you're using really old LEDs or special ones. This should all be correct. Okay. So what it's going to do here is it's going to include the Adafruit library. You tell it what pin you're using on the Arduino, how many LEDs you have connected to that pin, and then it creates an object. The object is called strip, okay? And it's going to use the Adafruit NeoPixel library to create that object. And you need 4 pieces of data. You need the LED count, the LED pin, the data order, and the data speed. Okay, once you have those things in there, then you have an object called strip, okay? So under setup, right, void setup, everything inside here runs once, okay? So we have a strip.begin. That's very important. For the strip to work, we have to begin the strip, okay? And then the here strip.show, this broadcast data over that pin 6, to the NeoPixel ring. Okay, keep that in mind, that if you tell a pixel to be red or blue or green or whatever color, it won't just turn that color. You have to tell it to be that color, and then you have to run a strip.show command for it to actually work. Okay? The last thing it does is it sets the brightness. And I don't know if I agree with that. I'm just going to set it to max. I'm going to set it to 255. Let it really get bright. You might want to keep it down a little bit. Well, maybe for the camera's sake, I'll keep it down. I'll keep it down to 50, sure. But we'll do some math on that to figure out like where we need to go and how long you want your battery to last in another video. Okay, so once we've got this set up, make sure everything's correct in here, right? Boards in Uno, comms 11, programmers AVR ISP Mark II. Okay, that's all good, right? Then I'm going to hit upload. Okay, so it's uploading to the board now. And if everything goes right, this pixel should light up. Maybe. I'll hit upload again. Maybe I got lazy. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. It was just being lazy. Cool. There it goes. Yours should be lighting up similarly. Right? Cool. Rainbows. All right. NeoPixels are cool, right? And yeah, that's not too bright for the camera, so that was a good setting. But you can try, on your code, changing the brightness to 255 if you want, and see how that looks. It's gonna be like cringy bright. Okay, so this is where we're at right now, right? So what we're gonna do is start hacking this code and turning it into our own code. So let's close this window here, and we're gonna go to just the Arduino here. Okay, so I'm gonna copy a few things and paste it in our new sketch. Okay, so I'm gonna take void setup and move it down a little bit. So there are things above void setup now. I want to pull out Adafruit NeoPixel, right? Copy that, paste that. Okay, so it's going to include the library into our new sketch. We need our pin. Okay, that's pasted. We need our count, copy, right? Paste. Okay, I'm going to put a couple more spaces in here. And now we need our object called strip here. So copy, paste. Okay. So we've got the library. We define the pin, which is 6. we define the LED count, which is 24. And what the define does is anywhere in the compiler it sees LED pin, like right here, it's going to erase it and place a 6 there. So that's what the define function does, is it tells it to erase a word once it starts compiling and replace it with the next word or value. Okay, so now we've got this object called strip. We need to tell that object things to do. So under setup, we need to do a strip dot begin, okay, semicolon, and do a strip dot show. Okay, semicolon. Every time you end a command, a C command, use the semicolon. The hashtag include and the hashtag define, those aren't C commands, those are compiler commands. Okay? So they do not work the same. You don't need to put semicolons. You just go to the next line. C commands, you have to use semicolons. Okay? So it's a little weird, but we're using a mixture of compiler commands and C commands here. All right. So let's upload this, and if it works right, it's going to turn all the LEDs back off. Okay. So I'm going to hit upload, and we'll call this, let's see, Girls Who Code Wenatchee dash Neo test. Okay. Save. Cool. And there it is. All right. So the NeoPixels are off. Perfect. Okay. So we know we got the microphone working. We know we got the NeoPixels working. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to combine those so they actually react to each other. Thanks for watching.